Alright, so now we're going to continue our surface area chapter, and we're going to work on cylinders for this lesson. So a great example of a cylinder is like a pop can. That's what I think of when I think of a cylinder. Now, one of the things that I didn't really highlight in the last video was that the radius is actually just half of the diameter. So if we have the line from the middle out to the outside, that's the radius. And if we have the whole diameter, then we just actually divide it by 2. So for any questions that we see the diameter, we can just simply divide it by 2 to get the radius. Okay. So the steps to finding the surface area of a cylinder is to make sure that we have the radius. If they give us the diameter, then we need to divide by 2. In step number 2, we get to label the sides, which are the height and the radius, and then write out the formula, which is below. So we're just going to keep adding to our surface area formula sheet, and a third line is our cylinder. So it's 2 times pi, which is what we found in the last video, times radius, and 2 times radius times height times pi, and then we add it all up, or we add up the 2 totals. Now, something I also didn't emphasize in the last couple videos was that you are going to be able to use the formula sheet for your homework as well as the chapter quiz. So make sure that you just make this very neat and organized, and it'll certainly be helpful for the assignment and quiz. Alright, so the very first step that we do for our cylinder is we make sure that we have the radius. So you'll notice that our line here goes from the center to the outside. So this is our radius. So our radius is 9 kilometers. And our height is 12 kilometers. Sorry, this was our radius. So now we're going to fill in our formula. We're going to have, so on the top here, we're going to have 2 times pi times 9, which is our radius, times 9. And on the second line, we have 2 times 9 times 12 times pi. So I'd like you to get out your calculator and type in 2 times pi times 9 times 9. And then hit equals. And you should get 508.938. And then for your next one, you'll do 2 times 9 times 12 times pi, which is 678.584. And then when you add those two up, you're going to get 1187.522. And then, of course, you need to list your units, which is going to be kilometers squared. So 2 up top. Alright, let's try another one. So in this one, you can see that it's being flipped, which makes it a bit tougher, but we will just make do. Okay, so the very first step is we need to make sure that we have a radius. Now, the radius is the circle right here. Or sorry, for the radius we need to look at the circle. And you'll notice that it's going all the way across the circle. So we don't actually have a radius. So to get our radius, we need to go 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So our radius equals 6 meters. And then our height, now this is a bit of a funny one because our cylinder is flipped on its side, we still have to imagine that the height is going from one circle to the other circle. So the height is 3 meters. Alright, so filling in our formula, I would actually like you to pause the video and fill in the formula for yourself. So go ahead and pause the video. Alright, so you should have 2 times pi times 6 times 6 and 2 times 6 times 3 times pi. Alright, if you punched into your calculator the very first line, so 2 times pi times 6 times 6 is equal to 226.194. And then the next line is going to be 113.097. So if we add those two up, we get 339.291, and our units are meters squared. Alright, so let's just do one more here. Now I want you to notice again that the cylinder is again flipped onto its side. So you have to be very careful when you're labeling the radius and the height. So we'll label it together. We first have to check the radius, which is on the circle. And you'll notice that the line only goes to the middle of the circle. So that is our radius. So radius is 5 centimeters. And then the height is 11 centimeters. Okay, so we're going to fill in our formula, and I would like you to fill in the formula and finish the problem off. So go ahead and pause the video and do so. Alright, so you should have 2 times pi times 5 times 5, and 2 times 5 times 11 times pi. And your very first line, when you multiply all of those up, you should get 157.079. And the second line, when you multiply them, you should get 345.575. My next step is just to add up the two. And then put in my units, so centimeters squared. Okay, so you're now ready to complete Chapter 4.2 homework, and only the questions 1 to 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And a little piece of special information that 2 of the questions on the chapter quiz will be similar to the homework questions.